1982 would be a pretty great year for Namco. This was the year they released several well-known titles: Galaga, Dig Dug, Pole Position, Super Pac-Man, and the game that would change the genre of shoot-'em-ups forever, Xevious. Now beforehand, shoot-'em-ups were pretty much stationary single-screen endeavors such as Space Invaders and Galaxian. However, what if you could travel across the world shooting down aliens that are in your path? Well, Xevious definitely answers that question. It wasn't the first scrolling shoot-'em-up, but it was the first one to really draw in consumers and really go on to be a huge influence on later games. Xevious was the creation of one Masanobu Endo, and while you might not have heard of him, was kind of a star in the video game industry of Japan. He'd appeared on TV and even in a commercial for one of his later games. Not only was he responsible for one of the most important titles for the shoot-'em-up genre, but also the action RPG genre with the Tower of Jiraga. But we'll talk about that title eventually. We need to talk about Xevious first. Now, despite being a pretty simple arcade title, Xevious' backstory actually seems like something they spent a good time on writing, but I'll just talk about the basics. Earth actually had a species of creature that was more technically advanced than humans, and their supercomputers predicted an ice age, requiring them to leave the planet. Now they want to make a return to Earth, and it's up to you, the Salvalu, to take down the planet Xevious one droid at a time. The Salvalu can either shoot like a normal ship against these pathetic drones called toroids that fly away as soon as you enter the screen, or a bomb that may blast ground-based turrets, which definitely changes things up for your average shoot-'em-up. As you travel on, the game does get harder with more enemies on screen and more projectiles to dodge. Eventually you'll reach the most notable enemy of the game, the Bakura, these mirrors that fly towards you and that you can't destroy. Thankfully they don't shoot back either, they only become a threat in bigger numbers where you have to avoid them. Eventually we reach the GAMP supercomputer, who pretty much shoots everything it has in a cluster of balls and projectiles. Xevious is probably the first game to have a final boss at the end, however the game does repeat afterward. So you can pretty much see how Xevious was a major influence on the shoot-'em-up genre, with the superior titles eventually coming out like Gradius and Xanic. Xevious also has adjustable difficulty depending on how you shoot your blaster. If you like constantly shooting your blaster, the game will get harder, putting out more menacing enemies. Not sure if that was implemented in this port due to the limited hardware, but who knows. And to be honest, I'm not a big fan of shoot-'em-ups, but Xevious is fun in a very limited way. While most shoot-'em-ups would just stick to the space, Xevious' Earth-like terrain is appealing to me, to say the least. Xevious was eventually released in America by Bandai, who would port many Namco titles to the stage, which is only funnier in hindsight as the two companies merged later in 2005.